welcome to Fifth Jack Gaming, where we're going over into the magic world. We're going to be diving into the deck tech of Veloci-Ramp-Tor, where we're going to end up going over and breaking down the cards that we end up having in the deck itself. Without further ado, let's jump over to the folks with Moxfield to be able to go over this deck tech. We're over at Moxfield to be able to break this down. We're going to have this deck list and also the one over on Architect. That's going to have the exact same deck list. Just depends on where you end up liking. We'll have both of them down in the description down below. Break down the commander real quick and see what goodness we have inside. Panalaza, Sun Favored. It's a 4/4 for a green, a white, and a red, and 2 altogether. So 5 mana. And whenever it enters the battlefield or another dinosaur enters the battlefield under your control, you may discover X. X is where the creature's toughness. You only do this once each turn. So with that being said, you can end up doing this once per turn. But the big thing is that Discover is going to be a little bit different in Cascade. Cascade, you end up going, let's say X is 4 for this instance, because the toughness of Plaza is 4. So if you're a Cascade, you'll go end up finding anything that costs 4 or less, and then you end up having to play it. But with Discover, you have the option to not play it. You can end up putting it in your hand instead of cascading it, or instead of playing this spell. So if you run into like an instant or something that you don't want to play, that's where this Discover is a little bit better than Cascade. Some people say it's a fixed version of this Cascade. I kind of feel so, because it's a nice little way, and if you didn't want to end up playing it, you can end up bouncing it back to your hand. So, what's the theme of this deck? Dinosaurs. Straight up dinosaurs. And we'll have a breakdown of everything that we have inside. Now we're just going to go through the deck list that we end up having. We're not going to break down the cards. It's going to be a different video. That's going to be when we actually end up going with a deep dive into the deck itself. Alright, so we have a battle. That's the Invasion of Ikora. And then we'll save the creatures for last. So we'll jump over to the enchantments, which we have Descendant's Path, Garruk's Uprising, Greater Good, Growing Rites of Ikwamok, Rhythm of the Wild, Tribute to the World Tree. And then we have the most exciting part. I know, the lands are most exciting because that's where all the magic happens. Well, it is where all the magic happens, but it's not that exciting. Arch of Orascos, Arid Mesa, Canopy Vista, Cavern of Souls, Cinderglade, Clifftop Retreat, Command Tower, followed by Evolving Wild, A Fabled Passage, 8 Forests, 1 Jungle Shrine, a Cassock Wolfrun, Moss Route Bridge, 4 Mountains, Mirror Landscape, Path to Ancestry, Plains, which we have 4 of those bad boys, a Rogue's Passage, a Rootbound Crag, a Secluded Courtyard, Sundown Pass, a Sun Petal Grove, Terramorphic Expanse, Unclaimed Territory, and finally, but not least, Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth. Next up is the artifacts that we have in the deck, which is Soul Ring, Progenitor's Icon, Monster Manual / Zoological Study, Cryptic Gateway, Arcane Signet, and now we're heading over into the instance. We'll work our way from the bottom and work our way to the top. Return of the Wild Speaker, Path to Exile, Generous Gift, Congression at Dawn, Peace Within, and Akroma's Will. And now for the sorceries. Here we go. We have Thunderherd Migration, a little bit of Star of Extinction, a Savage Order, Rishkar's Expertise, Rampant Growth, Kadama's Reach, Finale of Devastation, Farseek, Cultivate, and Chandra's Ignition. Alright, so we covered everything. Now we're at the creatures, the bread and butter of the deck. A Torasan Seer, Bronzebeak Foragers, Closdackle, Curious Eldashar, Earthshaker Dreadmaw, Itali the Primal Storm, Flaming Tyrannosaurus, Galta and Maavrin, Galta Primal Hunger, Gashop Sun's Avatar, Hulking Raptor, Hunting Velociraptors, Intrepid Paleontologist, Exile Lore Keeper, Marauding Raptor, Outpacked Huntmaster, Panosaurus, Hammer's Skull, Quartz Wars Crasher, Rampaging Brontodon, Ravenous Tyrannosaurus, Rezar Alpha, Ripjaw Raptor, Scion of Calamity, Sunfurl Imitator, Thrashing Brontodon, Temporary Stomper, Trumping Chronosaur, Velociraptor, aka Rampaging Pteranodon, Wayward Satytooth, Wrathful Raptors, Xenagos, God of Revels, Zakama, Primal Calamity, and finally, Mr. Floppy Bird itself, Zeltopa, Primal Dawn. That's the deck. So we have stuff that ends up playing over, making it allows us to play dinosaurs not just on our turn, on other people's turn, to be able to get a little bit more value out of our commander. But like I said, the big thing about this is dinosaurs. So, welcome to Jurassic Park. And here is our updated version of Veloci-Ramp-Tor 2.0. So, what do you think about it? Put it down in the comments down below. It's a nice little upgrade that we ended up having. I know it's a little heavy modified. I wouldn't say a little bit modified. This is a heavy modified platelet deck. It's a solid deck, and it's one of those decks that can easily go off the rails pretty quickly when it's unchecked. And sometimes even when it's checked, it gets off there going all crazy. Discover is a nice solid mechanic, and you'll end up finding out why whenever you play this deck. Out of the box, it's a good precon, but we wanted to amp it up a little bit better. So, if you're liking the content that we're putting out, like, subscribe, and hit that little bell icon to be notified whenever we come out with new content. And thank you for watching, and until next time, we'll see you later.